It's there we go. See, now Bill can get it. Okay.
Uh,
All
okay.
right.
I just might say I did have a email from Linda from India, and she just wanted to be sure that I said hello to everybody and tell you that she's having a great time. And she sent a picture of a festival that they went to that looked like a lot of fun. So I'm sure we'll get a full report when she returns. So, questions or reports, anything that's come up for you in your practice this week?
We're doing a lot of this dissolving work, as you know, in all the classes.
Yeah.
um, and I just found last week very helpful in terms of I went back over, reread the notes. I feel like it's something I'll read and reread. But just, sometimes it's just all the different ways we hear something can
Yep.
kind of strike a chord that hadn't really all come, yeah, created the picture that I need. So, yeah.
Good. Good. Yeah. The the whole, the process eventually will seem so simple, but in the beginning can seem like an unknown conundrum. But we'll take it a step at a time. Anything for you, Carol?
Well, I'm just glad to hear Joanne say that because I am not experienced. This is the only experience I've had with dissolving, my first, and you're right, it's a lot. But from past classes with you, David, I know that it just takes time for me, and so I'm not approaching it with determination like I tend to do. I'm letting things happen and just being open to it, and hoping that it'll come in time, which I'm sure it will, but in time.
It will.
It
Um,
will.
I
Uh,
think
I
uh,
think
what we're going to do
what
today
we're
may
going to
help to some degree, both clarifying a couple of things and an exercise that I found very helpful when I was starting into this practice. So the first thing I want to look at is heaven and earth, and both of you are relatively experienced with Qigong, so this is really just a reminder. But I want to point out the bend and stretch and twisting that's happening here, and remind you that both of those elements need to be happening constantly as we go through the movements. Nothing freezes. So um, let me change my camera here. Not that way, David. So I can demonstrate it, and then we'll do it together. Okay. So, starting with bend and stretch, which was the one of the first things we worked on. Obviously, um, when we begin, there is a bend and stretch as we come into our basic structure. And then the first movement that we do is that preparatory transitionary movement in which everything is bending. And then as you come up, everything is going to stretch outwardly through one, and then horizontally through two. And I want to say that in two, one of the things that happens is in one, your hands and arms and legs are extending outward. On two, they are extending horizontally. They are spreading. And at the same time, you want to begin to think about opening your ribs. So, of course, that's a basic part of our longevity breathing, but it becomes an important element in two that in addition to extending outward, we're also expanding horizontally and opening up. So we bend to begin. There is a continual extension as you're going up in one, and then opening horizontally in two, and then in three you're bending all the way through to this point. And then you're extending as you come up and bending and extending. So do either of you have any question about that? It's pretty straightforward. Okay. A little more difficult is the twisting. And one of the things I want to mention here is to remind you that particularly in the arms that there are two possibilities. Our arms can twist along the thumb edge, and in that case we have twisting in and we have twisting out. But also the arms can twist along the little finger edge, in which case the movement is reversed. We have twisting in and twisting out. So both of these appear in this practice. So as we go into the preparatory movement and we're bending, we are twisting the thumb edge in. And then as we come up in one, we're twisting the thumb edge out. And then we're going to twist the little finger edge out in two. And in three. And out in four, and then it's the thumb edge out in five, and then thumb edge in and thumb edge out. That's not right. Thumb edge. Sorry, I said the reverse there. Wouldn't you know? So it's little finger edge in and little finger edge out. So we want to try to keep that constant. The movement is some of it is very small, very slight, very subtle, and some of it is larger and much more clear. So why don't you guys stand up and let's try it together.
David, I just have one question.
Sure.
I guess I'm not seeing the distinction. Is thumb out and pinky in the same movement?
No.
No.
So
That's why I demonstrated it this way.
yeah. So when
Thumb
you're bringing
edge
your
is
thumb,
coming in towards the center.
yeah,
Little finger edge comes in towards the center.
right.
They're opposite movements.
Well, yeah, I guess I didn't explain. So thumb in and pinky out. The pinky goes out automatically when the thumb comes in. Is that
You're
correct?
focusing just on one edge at a time.
Okay. So it's basically where your intent is, where your focus is.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So starting with feet comfortably together and bending and twisting in, step, and extending and twisting out, and then bending and twisting the thumb edge in, extending and extending the thumb edge out. And then the little finger edge out, opening the ribs. And the finger edge in, thumb out, thumb edge in and out. So little finger edge in, thumb in, excuse me, thumb twisting out. Little finger edge twisting out. Little finger twisting in. And then twisting out, and thumb edge twisting out, and thumb edge twisting in. And little finger out. So questions there? Okay. So what I'd like you to do is do a just a short flow of, let's say, 4 repetitions, so that you can practice that. Okay? And I'll let you work on it more at home, obviously. So did that raise any questions for you?
No, David, I think I'm still trying to make sure the flow is a flow. There are no freezes, as you said. Uh,
Yep.
that the body and the arms
Right.
kind of
Oh,
move in
yeah.
there.
Of course.
So I mean, I am aware of that, and yeah, because I've done this, before.
Yeah.
It's I'm just kind of layering on that.
Good. Anything for you, Carol? Okay. So, two things I would mention. Um, let me see if I can do this here where you can see me a little better. In that first preparatory movement, the arms don't come into the center. They just bend and twist. So that coming into the sidelines is part of that first movement as you rise. And the second thing is that when you do 3, that you are sinking all the way through until the elbows rise and the fingers drop. And then you rise. So just in terms of movement, to be clear there. So, any other thoughts or questions? Okay, so sit down. So now we're going to look at the basic method. We've been going through the entire body from the top of the head and the feet, wherever there was tension or strength, something that didn't feel quite right, especially if you don't know what it is, and any type of contraction. And this has allowed us to recognize where energy was blocked, and made us aware, just aware of what was there. And now we're going to take these places where we become aware that something is blocked. It's broke, we want to fix it. If it's fine inside of you, you don't have to do anything. So the next thing is that how you know what the problem is and what is the solution. How do we release what is stuck in you? Now the basic practice for this is ice to water, water to gas. And ice is simply going to be whatever you feel as a blockage. The term ice was used because, especially as regards emotions, the worst emotions people have are not crazy ones, they are cold ones. So there is a dark thing inside people, just as there is a very light thing inside people. And sometimes you have to go through the dark to come out into the light. So that's the ice. It's a block. One of the four conditions, tension, strength, something that doesn't feel quite right, or some type of contraction. And then you want to put your attention on this. You see it, you feel it, you taste it, however you become aware. Everybody becomes aware in a different way. And first, it'll just be your thinking. And then something deep will start to happen. And then something deep inside your body. And then something deep inside your heart will start recognizing what's going on. If you watch this and you have the intention to put your attention on it, and you have the willingness for it to become water, then you don't do anything. You just keep your attention on it, and you keep your willingness for this to relax until it happens. Active waiting. You don't make it happen, but you're really there when it does. And the next step is ice to water. So ice is a practice to help us understand. Here is a practice to help us understand this. So you can start, we're just going to sit for this. You don't have to stand or anything. It's probably helpful if you try to sit in a pretty good position. And I want you just to choose one of your hands. I don't care which one, but don't try to do this with both. And put your attention on your hand. And let your mind and your awareness, in whatever way it can, focus on your hand. And your eyes can be aware or open or closed. And then you take your hand and form it into a fist. And you squeeze it really hard. You're really willing to do this. And do not release your fist until I tell you to do so. You really have to wait until your hand gets tired. It may even start to go dead on you, but keep holding that fist. Now it's important that you do not try to open your fist. I want to let your muscles relax, but don't open the fist. Let it open by itself, entirely by itself. Let it just release, no matter how long it takes. I'm going to suggest you close your eyes if you have not. And just let go of control of your hand. Just allow it to open of its own accord. With all the crinkles, and no matter how slow the movement is. Let go of doing anything to control the movement of your hand. So let it relax, but don't try to open it. Just put all of your attention inside your hand. See if you can start going into the flesh of your hand. Into your muscles, into your cells, and into the depth of your mind, which is also connected to your hand, as it is to every part of your body and every thought you will ever have. Keep on going inside. And as you go inside, you're going to find out that in order to keep going inside yourself, that you have to deal with the fact that your body has all sorts of methods of distracting you. It'll throw up thoughts. And all of a sudden you start thinking about something, or maybe you feel something, or maybe you see a picture in your head. Maybe you'll start feeling some kind of sensation. But I want you to focus not on the thought, not on the sensation. Just keep on letting go of the tension in your hand. And let go of what's behind it. What's creating it. That's generating it. Waves on the surface of the ocean are happening because of deep currents moving beneath. What's the current below the surface? Below the wave? That's something and causing or creating the wave on top. Stay with that. Keep focusing your mind into your hand, and no matter what appears, always notice what's behind it, what's underneath it, what's creating it. Notice that sensation of the energy that's behind it. Keep following it inside. You may start losing contact with the energy that's behind and behind and behind. But breathe into that space so it keeps your awareness up. Breathe into your hand until your hand becomes more alive and you can notice what's in it, what's behind what you're feeling. If a thought comes into your head, just feel for what's behind that vague, undifferentiated feeling that's causing the thought. And as you go further in, you may get more and more quiet, or you may find things that are vibrating in a way that's very disturbing. Know that whatever you're feeling inside you is what you are finding. There's a very old phrase. If you go inside yourself, all you're going to find is what's already there. Nobody put it there. These are the ghosts of your past. This is what happened in your childhood, or what the teacher did. And this is what happened in the environment. Or this is the world you live in. It may be uncomfortable, but it is fine to feel for the energy that is behind the uncomfortable, the discomfort. Just keep feeling. Keep on being aware of what's behind it. Don't be distressed. It feels good or it feels bad, or it feels nothing, or anything else. Just keep feeling behind it until your mind releases a place where it just lets go. Everything inside you just seems to expand, and you let go of whatever tension is really deep in there. If you do that, most people feel a lot better, because it's like when you squeezed your hand. When you let it go, your hand feels better. Whatever you were holding on to that isn't real or isn't necessary has a tendency to make us miserable. So this is kind of a big way of looking at letting go. Before we get into a little bit more of the precise practice. But this is a big thing. As you let go, the blood slowly comes back into you, and your hand will open up. It may open up very slowly. Just let it happen of its own, in its own natural flow, rather than controlling it, letting go of your need to control. And if you can do that consciously, the time will come when you can let go of the things you don't even know you're holding on to, and just get more relaxed. So dissolving is a letting go process. It is about dealing with both things you know about and the things you don't know about. Where this process starts is that human beings have an energy field, and it has a way of working. And just as today with modern science, we know how lots of things occur. However, through most of human history, they were considered to be the workings of the gods. Almost all the science of the West so far has been very much focused on the external world. The ancient world, and especially the Taoist tradition of China, really looked at how do you get the central nervous system to relax. And they found something. They came up with what they thought were the energy diagrams of the body, the way the electrical circuits, the energies of the body worked. The life force energy. The things that make a difference between whether you're physically alive or dead. And this difference between a corpse and a live human being, they called the life force. In China, they call it qi. In India, they call it prana. And different civilizations called it by many different names. In Hebrew, they called it ruha, which they said was breath, energy, spirit, or soul. All these words got attached to it. Now, the Taoists were really looked at what about the energy of the body could allow people to let go and what it was that stopped them from letting go. And one of the things they found was that qi travels through your nerves and also makes your blood and the other fluids of your body flow. But the much better thing for our modern times is that qi also directly affects your nerves. When the nerves of the human body can't let go, your qi is blocked. When your qi becomes unblocked, then your energy becomes unblocked. You can let go and relax. So how do you let go of your nerves? How do you finally get the energy that causes your body to work so that it can relax? Relax your muscles and your nerves. How do you make that, take that back to the depths of your mind with the energy that also makes your emotions work? This is a big part of dissolving. And even further, how do you make it, take it back to what makes your soul work? This is what the dissolving process is about. So just relax and open your eyes if you have not. So let's look at this simple idea of letting go. How do you let go of your energy? because when that lets go, everything else that can will let go. Everything else that can will relax. And there are 3 ways that you do this with dissolving. The first way is you do it in a general way. Whatever you do as a general dissolving procedure, working through the first 4 energy bodies, and whatever's in there comes out. And especially, you clear out what's below the 9 layers of stress that keep the stress there. That's very important. The second one is that if you know there are things in your life that you really want to deal with, want to stop being angry, you want to stop being unable to make decisions, want to stop thinking you're not good enough, wanting to stop thinking that you're too good, all these different things. This becomes what the ancient world called the 1,000 stories of the 10,000 agendas. So, using agendas is the second way. And the third is how you deal with shock and trauma. Because if anything is true in modern times, it is that people get stuck at points of shock and trauma. They never get rid of it, and it controls their whole life. So how can one deal with agendas and stories that deal with old shock that has happened a long time ago? Then there's new shock that you need to get rid of quickly so that you're not stuck with it for a long time. So these are the 3 ways that you're going to use the dissolving process. Let's go back to how the process works. The human energetic system works this way at a very simple level. The energy that naturally flows down the body gets rid of what humans cannot process otherwise. So, before we do a little meditating, is there any question you want to ask about that? Okay. So just sit and breathe. And for now, just continue the practice we've been exploring, scanning from the crown of your head down to your dantian. Taking note of what you feel and any of the 4 conditions that are present. And let us begin to close. Sending all benefit gained from this practice out to help all the sentient creatures of the universe. So any last minute questions or thoughts? Okay. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
thank you.
See you next week.
Thank you,
Next
David. See you next
Next
week.
week.
Bye-bye.
Next week. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Joanne.
Bye, Carol.
Bye, Carol.